The year is 2020. As the old financial empires collapsed and crypto drowned in noise and false prophets, one man lost everything. And in that loss, he was called. Through the wreckage of his own failure and the precision of his charts, a higher force revealed what others could not see and entrusted him with a mission to guide others through the chaos he barely survived. They call him Sacred Prophet. And now, the revelation is yours to claim.
Welcome, degenerate heathens, here to be saved by the dulcet tones of your leader, Sacred Prophet. I come to you on this day, October 5th, 2025, on Sunday Fuel, to take a look at the setup for the week ahead. Not just for Bitcoin this time, but for markets in general. Hi, guys. How's it going? Peter, you're here. This is Peter Hartman, also known as Bad Guru, really my Aaron in training and my perpetual sidekick. He is my brother from the same mother. Always love to see him in short doses, short increments. Peter, how's it going?
It's going well. It's going well. How are you? You have something? What was that?
Bitcoin moved up 15% in a couple of dias. How do you think I'm doing? How do you think my phone's been going?
I think it's probably you're happy? Are you not sure?
No, people have been on my case, Peter. People call me when Bitcoin's at the lows, like it was over here on September 27th, and they tell me, should I sell everything? And then they contact me again when Bitcoin is over here at 120 and higher, and goes, should I buy everything back in? And it's hard. It's a hard decision. I totally understand that, right? A friend after friend after friend has been contacting me. Sometimes I don't even know Bitcoin's down until my phone starts ringing, or Bitcoin's up until my phone starts ringing. Busy doing other things. And I never know what to say about these sort of things, Peter. Because overall, Peter, if I were to ask you overall, what do you think my take is for Bitcoin? Bullish, bearish, or neutral?
Bullish.
Exactly. I'm bullish on it in the same way that I'm bullish about reports that come out from the government, or Wikipedia controlled by central intelligence agencies, or congressional or legislative branch making sure that the rich get richer and the poor get poorer. Look, I know which side the bread is buttered, okay? We understand that we are on the side here of the Holy Global Empire because they have the Death Stars, and you're betting on planets blowing up. It just so happens that when planets blow up, Bitcoin goes up.
Just so happens.
Right? Yeah. So the goal here is not to be a rebel alliance. The goal here is to get enough money in order to become people in positions of power, in order to reshape the world in the way that we see fit. And if it so happens that when we get into power and get the money and fame and status, and we get to choose what the world should look like, if we choose that the world should look like the way it is right now, that'll be a decision made with full understanding and our conscience in the right place, and knowing that those who came before us also had their hearts in the right places.
Sounds poetic.
That's right. The earth is flat, and we can't let regular people know about that. It is not a good thing for the cow to know they are on a farm. Peter.
That's true. If they're scared, it spoils the meat. I know that much.
That's right. You got to sneak
catch them. That's right.
You got.
I heard this one. I don't know if this is true, but I heard that they make these slaughterhouses where the cows, they go into a building, they have to walk around in a circle. And when they get to the end of the circle, that's when they get tapped, and it's to avoid so the cows don't see what's happening at the end of the line, which I think is a beautiful metaphor, a perfect metaphor for what's happening in real life here.
That's how I want to go. You think I want to see it coming? I saw my wife. People often describe the perfect death as lying in bed, terminally ill, surrounded by loved ones, as you slowly go into the darkness. Excuse me? That is literally every one of my nightmares.
How do you want to go? Just like a sniper, stray bullet?
I want to be driving a Lamborghini and get clothesline. Tunnel that's too small. I want to go out just like that, John Edwards style. I was here and then gone. Here and then gone.
John Edwards.
Just like that. Aneurysm. Thank you very much. I'm going to be falling from the sky. I want to do a base jumping, and something goes wrong, and I don't realize it until the tree trunk jams into my chest. So I got nothing to think about. I don't have to think about the oblivion of the darkness that awaits me. All I think about is how painful this is, or the cold I am as my blood is sleeping on my body. I don't people I care about to be staring at me, my stupid eyes, as I fail in front of everybody. Okay.
Just wish for a stroke. A stroke is a good way to go.
Let's just reset here. Let's just reset for a second.
Honestly, I think a heart attack doesn't sound so bad. Like every time I see it, they're like, and then you die. Like, I don't know. It just seems like a punch to the chest, and then you die. It seems like a pretty
I've had a heart attack, and the heart attack feels like you have a pain in you, an itch in you that you can't scratch. But even as you're trying to get at it, your body can't move. I never realized that your heart attack, you're like seizing up.
Yeah. And
so it just feels way better than drowning. I'll tell you that. Way better than some of the other stuff I've had.
I talked to a guy who drowned, and he gave me a little look. Maybe we should talk about Bitcoin at some point. He told me, because I was just terrified of drowning. Like, I would rather be burned alive than drowning. There's something about being burned where you're not thinking about what's going on. You're not in the moment. Drowning, there's nothing happening to you except I guess you feel cold maybe, and you're just like, my life depends on me holding my breath. It's not like, oh my God, you're out of your mind. He said when he drowned, he just kind of let it in. He didn't fight it, and it was just this peaceful feeling as he went off into the darkness until he was resuscitated. Like, it was no pain, completely peaceful. He's like, as long as you don't fight it, it's totally fine. So
that's how my suffocation was when I was younger, 12. My suffocation was just like that, super peaceful. Boom, I'm in another world. And in that other world, I spoke to the Lord of Liquidity, who said, go back and teach my flock about financial markets. Nice little segue.
We're being asked for analysis, please. I agree, Lusanda. I agree.
Well, the reason I wanted to start with all that, you guys think that I don't have just stream of consciousness. No, this is what we're just talking about. The death that we saw right now is what happened to the bears last week. Wrecked. The bears got wrecked. Bitcoin went up 15% off the lows to hit a high of around 125.7. Hoo-wee, that was amazing. And we had basically all-time highs in equity markets. We had some pullbacks, some significant pullbacks, but only significant on an intraday basis. If we actually were to take a look at that on the NASDAQ, let's say, over the dailies, I mean, look at that beautiful all-time high. It just makes all-time highs. And we've been seeing that there in the S&P. Even gold. Gold is up. I mean, look at that, $3,900 on gold. And we have the inverse of that, where we have the oil fall into the low end of its range. Oil generally oscillates here between $75 per barrel and 60-ish. And as we get to the lower end of that range, we usually bounce, and so on and so forth. So the stability, the non-volatility of oil is what we were really looking for in order to make longer-term plays. So it's just been up and to the right. Now, something we've been talking about for months now, we actually talk about it every month or so, especially every quarter, is the quarterly options expiration that occurs, right? So not to give you a course on options, but essentially there's way more volume in the derivative of stocks and futures called options. There's way more volume there than what happens in the actual stocks. Because one options contract, let's say on SPY, controls 100 shares. And it costs a fraction of it. So if someone buys 10 times worth of options, like dollar-wise than they would normally purchase. They're controlling way more shares. Plus, there's also all kinds of dynamics that happens with market makers within the markets, where they have to hedge the risks that they have with the options contracts. So what happens is that 4 times during the year, at quarterly expirations, September, December, March, and June, we have a bunch of these options contracts that expire. And when they expire, we have these periods of weaknesses where if something did happen, you can have a major crash. Now, the flip side is true. If there is no volatility event, then once those hedges start being put back into place, you can have a massive rally off the lows. If we just head back to let's just go to the S&P. Do you guys remember this drop here that happened in March to April when we had the whole Trump tariff thing? So because of the uncertainty of that, it happened when exactly around March OPEX, right? March OPEX is the end of March. And so we were falling into that period and we fell all the way to a massive low on the S&P. This was a low of 21%. Right, almost in bear market territory starts at 20%. So we were in bear market territory, and people were expecting we're going to fall even further. I don't know if you remember this, Peter, but people were talking about that's it. It's going to be 10 years of a bear market. It's global financial crisis all over again, .com bubble all over again. We've fallen and we can't get up. And as soon as that was over, the low here that we see on the S&P here, the tick low is on the 7th of April. Right. We started bouncing back up, and not only did we recover the entire drop that we had before, we went even higher still by 50%. Right? This is the power of options expiration, especially the quarterly options expiration. If the bad news doesn't continue, volatility gets supplied again, people get covered towards the downside, market makers need to hedge, and price gets chased up and to the right. So the same sort of thing can be happening right now with equities. Okay. Now, there are a couple of things that I want to keep in mind. So we're going to focus a little bit here on Bitcoin. This is the setup I want to make. I just want to preface this by saying that we have been a big proponent of Bitcoin as the vehicle to trade, especially Bitcoin futures, in order to do 50x leverage. Right, that's been the thing I've been harping on for the last year or so. And we are going to be making an addition to this where I did a disservice, because what we're talking about, the things that we're describing, is not only for Bitcoin. It's just that I really like Bitcoin futures. It gives you a lot of leverage. You have control over it. People from all around the world can use it. I really like that vehicle. But you can trade other assets as well. And something I've been really become a more and more of a proponent of is prop firm trading. Prop firm trading, essentially, you could go on different prop firms to find different information, and I do highly recommend that you do that. I'm going to have videos coming out soon that is going to be speaking specifically about onboarding for prop firm and how to manage it and what to think. But essentially, you're trading someone else's money. You're paying a nominal fee in order to get access to an account, either directly or indirectly. And when you trade on there, you're able to trade large amounts of capital, but you're trading someone else's capital, and you get up to 80, sometimes up to 90% of the profits that you make. It's not all rosy, not all rose-colored glasses. You do have to be very strict with your ability to make money. You have to be consistent. There's all these rules you have to follow. It's really threading a needle, but if you can make a ton of money. And there are people making $5, $10, $20, $50, $100,000 a month trading prop firms. So I want to broaden this out so that you guys understand that I want to touch on that as well. I want you to be able to make money, because the more money you make, the more money I make.
Question.
Let's hear it.
Did we finish with the Bitcoin analysis? So I don't know if I heard about the price target.
What's right now?
Oh, I see. Okay, good.
Yeah. So here's the thing with Bitcoin. Bitcoin moved up 15% off the lows. All right. And now what we've been talking about for weeks is the idea of the shorts for Bitcoin. The shorts for Bitcoin was between 15 billion and 18 billion on CoinGlass. Site's down at the moment, but you can see a representation of that chart at the bottom right of your screen here. And for every $1 billion worth of shorts on CoinGlass, or even longs, but leverage on CoinGlass, counts for about 1% move in Bitcoin. and almost all the shorts got liquidated. We went from 18 billion down to 2 billion or so, and all that movement happened exactly when Bitcoin moved up. So this move that we have up here in Bitcoin off the lows is the liquidation of the shorts. Okay? What we're not seeing is longs coming in. Right? We're looking to see in a very healthy bullish market that the longs end up being the ones who going levered long. Because if we don't get that, what we get is this rinse and repeat cycle where the shorts pile in, and so the price goes down, and then they get liquidated. The shorts pile in, so the price goes down, gonna get liquidated, and again and again and again. We don't get that big upward movement with the euphoria that causes Bitcoin to really get into the high levels. So because of that, because we're not looking for hype from retail and stuff like that, we have to look at other catalysts for the price moving up. So we just had the catalyst of the shorts being liquidated. Maybe there's another 2% that we can get off of that as more shorts get liquidated, which would bring us somewhere around, let's call it all-time highs up to $125,000 on Bitcoin, on the Bitcoin futures. The next thing that could happen, though, is what's called the Santa Claus rally. Peter, are you aware of what the Santa Claus rally is?
Yes, I am very much aware of it, but maybe you should explain it to people, just because I know that I talk a lot. I don't want to be like dragging things down, so you can just explain the Santa Claus rally, which I, of course, know.
I don't even know why I have you on the show, Peter. The Santa Claus rally is this effect that happens at the end of the year where people have noticed that the price could move dramatically up from the months of October to December.
Right, exactly.
The reason for this is that come January 1st, a bunch of these hedge funds, money makers, money managers, pension funds, these institutions and these large players have a fresh history to deal with. They finished their year and now they can start again fresh, which means that if assets were up the previous year, those assets now, those financial assets now are worth more. And because they're worth more, they can leverage that as collateral, take out loans against it. Right? They can get more money out of the same assets they had before because they're now worth more. And that money, wouldn't you know it, they put it back into the stock market, often back into the high-performing assets that they were already in, right? Gone are the days where people, oh, this went up 100%, let me sell that and put money into some value stock that I think might really go up. Yeah, excuse me, we are in the territory of the Matthew principle, that the more get more and the poor get poor. All right, that's what this is. And so the high performing assets get more allocation, and the lower performing ones actually get reduced allocation. Right? You can understand this even with the S&P. The S&P is an index of 500 of the largest mega cap stocks on the traded publicly. So what do you think happens if one of those stocks goes up 10%? Well, then all the different ETFs, all the different instruments that are tied to that, they have to buy more of that asset to represent that the largest share of that company, and other ones have to be sold in order to keep the equal weighting of the S&P 500. And so the more get more, and the less we get less. Since people know that this is going to happen in January, people who know market dynamics, they know this is going to happen in January. What they can do is front run that by buying this year. So they can buy this year. But they're going to usually wait till the end of the year to see if anything bad happened. But December, most people are gone because of holidays. They're busy, so not going to put on major trades and all that stuff in December. And so they generally do it earlier in December or in November. And they want to get past the quarterly option expiration of September, early October. So it's really from the beginning of October to like mid-November, and then the drift up in December that you can get that Santa Claus rally. And that Santa Claus rally generally happens if assets are up that year, which they are. So that can be another force buying situation where assets that are high performing become even more high performing. That's high beta equities like the NASDAQ, indices like the S&P and the Russell, gold futures, and Bitcoin, because gold's been up dramatically this year. So would I be surprised to see Bitcoin rally massively up from here? Absolutely not. I would not be surprised. In fact, what we talked about last week.
What is that massively? What do you mean? I thought you said 125.
No, 125 is if the last $2 billion that we're seeing in shorts, levered long, if those get liquidated, that would account for 2% move. Like that would just be normal. But if the rally occurs, then we can have this this forced buying situation where Bitcoin could, Bitcoin could literally double by the end of the year. Like I'm not sure what to tell you here. It can absolutely do that. It could double from here.
I mean, it would just be crazy. What would I have to see in the next week or two to believe that Bitcoin is going to double by the end of the year?
Well, Bitcoin doubling.
It's not going to double over like in a day, right? So it should be
well, if you take a look at the charts, the last time it doubled, what's the last time we doubled and we had something similar to this? It went up from the low, let's call it after the rise. So this is this was the April 7th. This is after the whole Trump tariff thing, right? So let's call this initial move over here the move we had already, right? Mm-hmm. And then if we continue from over there, it went up from here, April 22nd, all the way to a new high. It was up 31%, so not a doubling, but we did have a doubling earlier on. Let me just go back to here. All right, so this low here that we saw in, 1 second here. All right, 160 off the lows from April, we went up 66%. If we see this last September, so around the same time that we're talking about the same sort of effect, last September we had a drop, and let's call it from the October, from the same period of time, we went up 100% over a 1 year period. Now that happened while we were still we weren't in the parabolic phase of Bitcoin yet, right? And so do I think it's highly likely that we double by the end of the year? No. Do I think it's possible? Yes.
Gotcha.
So we could totally see that.
So when you say rally, that means that the longs are coming in.
No. So the longs.
You're talking about the Santa Claus rally and the forced buyers. Is that
exactly the Santa Claus rally, right? We can see equities and a Bitcoin, even gold, go up significantly as a chasing of performance into the end of the year. It's not guaranteed.
This is despite. Sorry for interrupting you constantly, but this is despite euphoria being there or not there.
Yes, exactly. If there's euphoria, obviously it gets exacerbated. If it isn't, you can still have that move up.
Gotcha.
All right. So here's the thing. So you might say, Tom, you seem very hella bullish Bitcoin in the short term. I'm actually not. I'm not actually hella bullish about it, because just because the quarterly option expiration of September has passed, and that December is not usually fraught with peril because people are gone on vacation, it can still happen. December is still a quarterly option expiration period, and we could still have periods of weakness that lead into that. And so, given the current political setup, I don't know what to think. You still have tariff issues. You're having the bond markets throughout the world, not the U.S., but throughout the world, just rising. It doesn't particularly look good. If there's bad economic news, so we already know the jobs market is like terrible. There's like millions of jobs less than what people think. So what kind of spending do we think the consumers are going to do in the holidays? Right now, I think it is. What is it? I think it's something like 70 to 80% of the consumer spending that the economy runs on is currently being done by the top 10% of the economy of consumers. The top 10%.
Wow.
Are doing 70 to 80% of the buying. consumer buying, that's buoying businesses. Well, that means all these businesses that cater to disposable income, so items that middle class or lower class people don't need to buy, they just buy because they have money, they feel like it, those items are dropping, right? iPhone sales dropping. Xbox prices and PlayStation prices are going up, right? Usually those things don't go up. You don't normally see a computer increase in price 6 months into the year. Like that doesn't normally happen. That's crazy. And so you have this downward pressure on there. And so as more bad news comes out, sure, that would mean that the Fed has to cut more, but it can mean crazy volatility for assets. So I don't want to discount what can happen in December. Plus, we're up. We're not crazy up, right? We're not insanely up. Bitcoin is up 600% from the lows, from the October 2023 lows, from the beginning of the bull market. It's up 600%. Normally in other markets around this time, Bitcoin's up 3 times that. So we have this muted cycle, and the when we're taking a look at the rise that we had in equities, even though the indices are up, so from last year to now, from 2024 till now, the S&P is up 33%, which is higher than average. Usually it's up 20% on a 20% at least on an election year, where elections are concerned. So it is up, but it's not a runaway train, just a massive rally that no one can get a hold of. We had the recession in 2022. We had the tariff thing in 2024. These sorts of drops can happen again and again and again. In fact, I've been calling for this, that we're going to have 20%, 40%, 50% drops regularly in equities, and then a rally, and dropping in a rally, and dropping in a rally. And so plenty of ways for you to lose your money, and it takes away the wind. It takes away people's desire to have levered longs because they go, well, it keeps dropping, right? The amount of volatility that we've had, if you take a look at this chart for the S&P, look at the volatility events that we've had just over the last 5 years since COVID versus the time before, which was just years of straight up and to the right, right? It doesn't even compare to these drops that just get bigger and bigger and bigger. Okay? So we did a video last week talking about how Raoul Pal and Michael Howell were having a discussion. You guys should definitely take a look at that, because it was like just fantastic, about the idea that maybe the cycle this time, because of COVID and because of the refinancing that corporations and governments did, that we're actually in an extended cycle for about a year. And that we have until March of next year before we peak in liquidity in Bitcoin and equities, and we fall down. There's just one thing I want to get past there before I really go all in on Bitcoin, and that is the cycle that we're normally used to for Bitcoin is a bull market for 1,064 days. All 3 past bull markets the last 2 bull markets for Bitcoin lasted exactly 1,064 days, from the low to the high. From the candle low to the candle high, it lasted 1,064 days. If that holds true, 1,064 days from the lows of 2023 ends around October 20th of this year. So I really want to see us get past October 20th before I really get gung-ho. But of course, I totally understand I might miss the boat. But Peter, I frankly don't care about this last leg up. Because when we're in blue sky territory, I can't tell the levels, I can't tell the prices. We're just all guessing as to what's gonna happen, because there's no history for the chart up there. What I want is the downside, when Bitcoin decides to change directions.
You underestimate my power.
And we're looking for short in Bitcoin. Well, we can short Bitcoin all the way down to like 50,000 without really having to worry too much. Bitcoin falling 70, 80%, totally normal. So if it falls 50%, I mean, can you imagine holding a short from up here, from whatever it gets to. Let's say it gets to 150,000, and you hold that short from $150,000, 150,000 down to 50 at 50x leverage, at 100x leverage. How much money you can make? Oh my God, that'd be amazing. That'd be actually fantastic. So I'm nervous here about this 1064. Like, do I think maybe that's the peak of Bitcoin for this cycle, October of this year? It could be. I certainly, all of crypto space is looking at Bitcoin in the past and going, this is what happened then, this is what happened then, this is what happened then, this is what happened then. And so we're going to ignore it? Recule un peu, calme nerfs. Let's calm that down just a little bit. Let's get past the doomsday scenario and see what happens after that. And then I'll be right with you, you know, in late December, early January. Let's ride the last legs up and prepare for our shorts. Oof, Peter, I want to be there. Me, Richard Hart, Garrett Soloway, we call tops. We call tops. And there's so much more money to be made on the downside, because the downside for Bitcoin, that 70, 80% drop happens within a year. That means we know from October to or from March to March of the following year, we can ride that all the way down and start, you know, filling up our bags, getting that sweet, sweet Bitcoin, getting those sweet, sweet altcoins that we want to have, and ride that back up at the next cycle. I'm ready. I'm ready. Last cycle is where I made my mistake. I lost a bunch of money. The cycle before that, I made a bunch of money. The last cycle, I made a mistake, lost a bunch of money. This time, I've learned my lesson.
And that's the lesson you're trying to, I guess, save everybody else from. We get the benefit from your loss.
Exactly. Because the more money you make, the more money I make. That's the way I'm setting up this thing. Either if you're watching this and you're liking, subscribing, and getting visibility that way, wait for ads that are going to be coming. Or whether you sign up for our indicators and you're either paying it for the subscription, or you get them for free because you go to sacredprofit.com and you get those indicators by signing up as an affiliate. You can do that too. I'm here to make money, and the way I'm doing that is I'm bearing my soul. I'm bearing all my successes, all my flaws in front of you, in order to fatten you up and milk you for all you're worth. Peter, before we end, I do want to talk about the levels that I'm seeing for both Bitcoin and NASDAQ for the week ahead. So obviously we're going to know the correct price at the end of the 2-hour candle tonight that ends 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. But if we take a look at the current level, we're going to be around the 118.3 level for Bitcoin. What does that mean? It means that Bitcoin can totally fall from where we are right now, 123.078, down to 118.4, 118.3, totally fall down to that level. So that would be a drop of about 3.8%. That would be a great times 50. You have a nice 150% gain there if you wanted the short. But if it falls there and bounces at that level, I'd be taken along from there, right? When we get these levels from the top, we take longs. When we get them from below, we take shorts. We don't start putting our own, well, do whatever you want. You can use the indicators, find whatever ways, and you might find the ways of trading them better. But the indicators you're seeing on the chart right now, all except RSI, are coming from sacredprofit.com, from our library. Right now, you're seeing on the chart the wave indicator, the levels indicator, and the trend indicator. That lets me know what's the trend. This is green, red, green that we see back here. We have our lines on the chart over here. Let me just hide the drawings. The blue and red lines give us our daily and weekly levels to target. So that's why we know that we have a weekly level is going to start over here. The next daily level below us is at 122. So these are all levels that are great in order to take trades at. So for example, for me, Peter, last week over here, once Bitcoin passed over here, I waited for it because I always wait for the close of the candle before I decide what I'm going to do. It went above that level, came back down, and confirmed it here. It dipped down and confirmed it. So I went long here. And I've been long here, riding this up to where we are right now. Right? That's where these levels matter. You missed it again, you can get it over here. It came and confirmed. You see how it passed this level over here, Peter? This red level over here?
Yeah.
And then it came down and touched this blue daily level here. It wicked into that, and then it went up from there. Again, over here, it came down, wicked up from over there. So these levels are super great for short-term trades or entering into your long-term trades. You go long if it comes down from the top and confirms it. You go short if it goes from the bottom and confirms it. Can be any easier than that, but getting these indicators, which are free, is the first step for that. So head over to sacredprofit.com if you're interested. And finally, for the NASDAQ, if I want to just take a quick look at that, because I have been trading that when it comes to prop firms. The price came down, exactly to where I thought it was going to go over the last week. We still have a weekly level here at this is 24,939 on the NASDAQ we can fall to. So if we're going to go there, chances are we head up to the daily level here of 25,075, and then we retreat down there. And then we retreat down to that level, and we can go even as far as 24,880. It's harder those levels are harder to reach for equities because you do have the option space, but you can see over here that on September 25th, we went straight down to the daily level and then bounced up. Then on the over here on October 1st, we went straight down to the daily level and bounced up. These are all perfect areas in order to take your bounces. Just like these are perfect areas in order to take your shorts. Right here, this level here, this daily level, we shorted from over there. This daily level, short from over there. This daily level over here, short from over there. Peter, I don't know how to make this any easier. Take it. Immortality. It's yours. All right, Pierre. That's it for me. It's fun. I know you're planning on getting into the prop firm game as well. But if you guys are interested, please pay attention to. I'm on Price Action Live on the Traders Pulse YouTube channel, Tuesdays to Fridays, trading live in front of you guys, using a fantastic software, Traders Pulse, that connects different prop firm accounts together so that you can scale your winnings. That's right. You can make $500 and then multiply that across 10 accounts, 20 accounts, 50 accounts.
And I feel like that short sells it because it's not just like people say, oh, just a copy trader. You can have individual rules for each one of those accounts. So if you want to be riskier in one or less risky in another, you can do that as well, right?
Absolutely. If you want to deactivate an account that you pass evaluation or you're going to get a payout, so you don't want to risk it, you can do that without modifying what your signal source is doing. It's not a bunch of finagling throughout the system. You have all the information right there in front of you, and it's just getting better and better. I freaking love it. It's fantastic. Not an ad, but it could be. Not an ad, but it could be. All right, guys, that's it for Sacred Profit for today. We're going to be back next Sunday with even more Sacred Fuel levels for the week ahead. And we're going to be here during the week. So if you can subscribe to us, you're going to get daily bread from Monday to Thursday, generally speaking. I do have a baby on the way, so we'll see how that's going to go. Where you get market updates. You get market updates of what's going on over the week. My goal is if you listen to the Daily Breads, you get basically the salient points that you need to pay attention to for the news for the week ahead. And if anything big happens, well, we're going to jump on with Revelations and give you the market breakdown. But until the next time we see you, I wish you, as always, happy trading.
All right. Well, that's fun. Thank you so much, Achilles. Good luck with the baby. Hope everything goes well. Thank you for the levels. Yeah, that's it.
I'm really looking forward to the prop firm stuff. I want to really focus on that and get the right levels. I want to create indicators within our libraries that just make it a no-brainer for some people to jump into it. You can't share signals, right? You can't share signals. That's illegal under the SEC. But you can share techniques. And I want people to be able to get these techniques. I really want people to make $10,000 a month at least. I want people to have that inside of their account and know that they can do that themselves. That would be amazing. But don't tell anyone. I don't want anyone to know that I have a heart of gold. I want everyone to think that I just care about sucking their sweet, sweet, precious teat in order to get everything I can from them. all their attention, all their sweet clicks, all their signups. And it turns out the more of a douche I seem, the more likely people are going to. Are we still streaming?
Yeah, we are. Should we not be? All right, I'll stop it.
Okay. I feel like Bush in my first term. Oops.
All right.
Oops.
Bye, everybody.
Good thing I didn't